Well. Good evening, y'all. Welcome to Vibes Aquatics, Thursday Night Live. For those that wondered, coming in, we got TJ and Mariah, two of my favorite co-hosts. And before we get about it, prayers for those that are stuck in this bad winter weather, especially those of us down south, down in Georgia and Texas, and so forth. We ain't used to this kind of stuff. We ain't prepared for this kind of stuff. Anyways, so if you do have to venture out, be safe out there on the road, y'all. And we do got some good news for y'all, so stick around and find out. Hey, welcome in, TJ. Welcome in, Mariah. Good to see y'all.
Thank you. It's good to be back. I am excited for another week. We have people already starting to jump in the chat, so it's
I
going to
like
be a
this.
good Thursday evening.
Thanks, Sarah. I appreciate it.
Morning.
I realized it. She's awesome. Anyways, now I was telling my co-host backstage that I might lose y'all. My power has been flickering. So if that happens, I'll try to get back in, at least in the chat, hang out with y'all. If not, I mean, TJ and Mariah will take it and run with it, and at least I'll be able to go in there and shut it down when the time is, But so that way everyone knows what's going on. If I was saying I'm not here, so
I'll tell you if we lose you,
it'd be good news, huh?
no,
We might go off the rails. I don't know.
There is no telling what's going to happen if Mariah and I are left in charge. I cannot be responsible for anything that happens from here on out.
Whole channel shut down immediately.
So in other words, what TJ's saying,
censored by YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know about y'all. And for those coming in, go ahead and send the prayers for Ed. He's not doing well this evening. So
yeah, he still has his sinus infection. I mean, thankfully, it's not like he's not in like a very serious, what sounds like medical condition, but it's he's not feeling great, so he's canceled tonight. I can jump on and get Todd in trouble. Oh, yeah. Curtis, you and I, you, myself, and Mariah together, we would be quite the combination.
And see, Curtis has the ability to do that,
Well, as the number one co-host on the Vibes Aquatics channel, he's got special access. I get that.
Right. Did we just lose Mariah?
We did. She froze up, and it looked like here she comes.
Are you back? You unfrozen?
She is unfrozen. I can see her shaking her head.
You might want to put the ice in the oven, turn the oven on to get.
Listen, I'm telling you, it's so cold. My phone's freezing.
Hey, put it in the microwave. That might help.
No.
Man, thank gosh she knows better. Because could you even imagine what that would? Oh, good Lord. Yeah,
it'd be interesting. Anyways, y'all, and without further ado, we do have a topic for the night.
We have a very exciting night planned, I think, right, Vibes?
Yeah. So what is it all about?
So we are about to have a discussion with Tyler Metz. And Tyler just happens to be Mariah's neighbor that she learned quite recently is into fish. He's also an artist that specializes in marine types of art. And we just thought it would be a nice kind of change of pace to bring him on. And there's a lot we just learned about in probably the last 20 minutes backstage, just kind of getting to know each other. And, I think you guys are really going to enjoy sort of all of the different ways that we, may meander with this conversation tonight.
Right. And I think before I do it, though, I'm going to go ahead and welcome everybody into the live stream. I'm gonna go to the fishing.link
Mm-hmm.
and bring it up on screen for those that want to see it can. Because once you bring Tyler up, there won't be time to do this.
And
So-
Alex, yeah, there's definitely another local right there near you. He literally is Mariah's neighbor. They live in the same neighborhood, complex, whatever.
Yep. Jesus.
You okay?
I'm good.
Sure? Okay. All right. I want to remove the banner off of that. You can still better. There you go. Okay. It says right now there's 21 participants in the chat. MNC Aquatics, Why Are We All Yelling, Curl Works, Sarah the Great, Outside Aquatics, Bratton Lightcap, David's Aquatics, Sweet Acres Koi Farm, Skull Aquatics, Fathom Aquatics, The Nile Aquarium Guy, Too Cool for Schoolie, Scary Nona, Aquarium Digest, Long Coming Show, Stephen P. 2003, Dennis Christensen, D.D. Fenden, Shady Grady, My Fish Tanks Aquatics, Emma Rose, and Mexican Fish Keeper. Woo!
Welcome, everybody. Wow, we got a big crowd tonight, man.
Yeah,
They came on a good night.
they did. Because we got some good news for them.
Yep.
All right. And if you got questions for us, go ahead and ask away. But anybody on panel, but put Add Vibes in front of it. Add Vibes. That way we can see it easier. Anyways, without further ado, y'all, let's bring him up. Why not? The legend.
Tyler.
Hey, how are you?
Welcome to Thursday Night Live, Tyler.
It's good to see you guys.
Yeah, you too. We did a little bit of a preamble here for those that are listening in tonight, and just kind of told you we had the opportunity to meet here backstage for a little bit, and I think they're really going to enjoy getting a chance to hear a little about you, what you do. You got some very interesting kind of hobby passions in life, and we'll talk about kind of all of that tonight, I think. And specifically Alex, Fathom Aquatics, you'll see his name pop up here in chat. He is one of our regulars. He's also a moderator. He said, wait a minute, this guy's another local to me. He lives near you guys.
No way.
Yep.
He does.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I think that is
God.
great.
Well, that's
So,
awesome.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So why don't we, these guys obviously we've been doing this for a while, and I think everybody knows us, but let's take a moment and just, why don't you give us just the 4 or 5 minutes about who you are, and a little bit about some of the cool stuff you do, and then we'll see if anybody here, we're watching the chat, we can see it on the screen, so we'll see if anybody's got questions. We can stop along the way, and if not, we'll just kind of jump into some of the cool stuff you got going on, and we'll go from there.
Well,
And
my
Rod,
name
really quick, if you can, if you've got the link for Tyler's Instagram, if you could post that
oh, that'd be great.
in the chat.
Yeah.
They were asking for it in the
so-
chat.
Yes, I am active on Instagram. If you're interested in any of the background, things that go on in my life, but yeah. So my name's Tyler. I am a Atlanta resident. I am a local artist. I specialize more in marine biology arts and mixed media on canvas and canvas panel and stuff like that. But I also have my own fish room. We're sitting in it right now. These are my tank racks, and behind me, we can do a tank tour later.
Yeah.
But I started an interest like at a pretty young age. Like my dad, we were talking backstage about this, but when I was a kid, my dad had a bunch of different cichlid breeding setups, and that's like one of my earliest memories is looking up at these tanks and just staring at them for long periods of time. because it's it's really cool and fun for kids and stuff like that. So as an adult with a kid of my own now, it's something that I share. That one of the more family friendly hobbies that you could have. And I also share doing my artistic passions with my kid, and we do all kinds of stuff together, like from aquascaping to painting, or putting together Legos and stuff like that. Just all kinds of creative things. I try to stay inspired and stay active with my mind, and it's always cool to be able to include your family and the things that you love to do, and and so as I kind of grew up, I didn't have space or time or money for a real aquarium, right? So I just got really fixated on finding a way to bring that element into my life somehow. And it just naturally crossed over with my art and has kind of congealed into this really cool amalgam of all my passions, which is, I grew up on boats and grew up, fishing with my uncles and things like that. And I've always been around sort of like aquatic motifs,
Right.
and I've always loved the ocean. I've always loved rivers and any, I was always playing in puddles as a kid. And so it kind of makes sense. If you know me, it makes sense. But
No,
go ahead.
sorry, Tyler. I was going to ask you. Your art primarily is marine in nature, and we'll take a look at that whenever you've got a few pieces that you want to share. That's great. I think we've got some comments here. People love art, so they'd love to see it. But your fish
absolutely.
keeping, freshwater, saltwater, both. Where do you sit on that spectrum?
Right now, I have it's all freshwater setups.
Yep.
And of course, I do dose salt and minerals as needed.
Yep.
These critters don't get everything from their food, obviously, so you have to. And I have a good mix of critters in here, so it's good to have just like some kind of supplemental nutrients in the tank.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but as far as like all of my freshwater, so these are all. I don't really have room for like anything larger than like 50 gallons or so. I do live in a shared space, so I have to kind of mind my footprint with my items.
Sure. Yeah, makes sense.
So yeah. But this is my space in here, and it's obviously turned into a kind of a jungle. Let me see if I can flip my camera a little bit.
Sure.
Let's see if that'll work.
Is that a monstera I see there?
Yeah, so I also do indoor plants. Right now it's kind of in the receding season for most plants, so they're dying off and trying to save some of their energy for when they're ready to grow again. And so I've just been picking out dead plants and brown leaves for the last couple days here, and just trying to spruce up my tanks. I don't know if I can switch my camera around while I'm in
hit the little 3 dots at the bottom that says more, and then go to settings, and then go to camera, and then you should be able to flip it around from there.
Awesome. I think I got it. Okay, so
This is exciting, y'all.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, we see it, Tyler.
Here we are. Sorry, my tank is. I was just cleaning it earlier, so it's a little bit dotty. So I have this tank here is all molly fish. I have a bunch of these black velvet cuties right here, and then some of these are the gold. What do they call the gold dust?
Yeah.
And then I have 2 African dwarf frogs floating around. I call them Flippy. I call them Flippy and Dippy.
Flippy and Dippy.
Yeah. But these are all live plants in here. I have Najas grass for any, any fry that might pop up. At least they'll have a fighting chance. And then I have snails. Obviously, it's like once you get them, you can't get rid of them.
Sure.
You're stuck with them for a while. And then, but I do really favor doing more naturalistic. Here's the top view for any top viewers that enjoy that.
Yeah.
Of course.
So I have these.
We like all the views.
Yeah, so I have these racks right here so that I can actually unhook them and lower them down into the tank to water these plants that I'm rehabilitating.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of part of what I do. This one's dormant right now, but I have some arrowhead plant, and then I forgot what that is. My aunt gave it to me. And then here's actually some of the other plants that I have. These are the coolest ones. If you guys like turtles, everybody likes turtles.
Yeah.
I think this is a string of turtles.
Look at the leaves.
Yeah,
Isn't that cool?
They look like a turtle shell, just like what you were saying.
Yeah, so.
Oh, how cool.
Yeah. And so I have a couple little setups right here. This guy's in transition. I'm waiting to set up his little tank, so I'm doing a bunch of water changes every now and then, every couple days or so, just to make sure.
What's in there, Tyler?
So this is a betta.
Oh yeah, I see him. Okay, I couldn't see it initially, but now I do.
Being shy right now. But these were little orphans that were given to me and his little brothers right over here in this tank. And this is a 10-gallon setup, and I have to kind of fix it up a little bit. And he's been tearing it. This beta is a little bit temperamental and likes to chase the snails around. So they kick up a lot of stuff. Plus, I have some more rare plants in the back here. I have like this is a ring of fire philodendron.
Yeah.
And those are a little bit more expensive and rare. But I did a planted tank in this. Here's more of a top view. And this little fern has receded a little bit. It needs a little bit of help. But this is kind of like just my plant rehab / fish room. And here's some monsteras on top.
Yep. Nice.
And then over here are my other betas.
Ah, okay, yeah.
That's Randy Savage.
Randy Savage.
He's a big fat headed fish. But he's really cool, very stunning. This is my daughter's. Her name is Precious. This is actually a female that we picked out. And she is just amazing. Incredible.
The camera does not do her justice, guys. She is absolutely huge and gorgeous in person.
It looks like the fins are red, Tyler. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like reddish purple.
Here we go. I actually have a light right here that we can use, and we'll really pop off her fins.
Huge. When I initially saw her, I thought it was a male at first, just because of how big and colorful she is. Look at that.
There we go.
Yeah.
That is
wow.
Fish.
Yeah, she's gorgeous. And then so there we go. It's
Kyle
so hard
says
when
his plant addiction is becoming real.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So this is the top of their tanks, and you see this root this root ball right here, and Randy's
Yep.
tank has just exploded. I mean, it's incredible, and it's feeding this huge monster. Here's my hand for reference. I don't have a banana, but I do have a hand. That's huge. Or they do get bigger.
Yeah.
And then so, see if I can. Where you at? This is Lefty. He actually had cancer. I think it was just like an inbreeding thing. Because he was like that when I got him. And they were, the fish store was like, no, he's going to go. We're done with him. And I said, no. I'll take him. He's being shy. Come here, you. This is an incredibly colored fish. I just
it's
have never
fluorescent.
seen
It's like
colorful like this.
fluorescent.
Come on, buddy.
Yeah, right there. Wow.
He's got like it's like metallic fluorescence to him. He's beautiful.
Beautiful
Yeah.
Bettis. Yeah, beautiful Bettis.
There he is. He'll shimmer sometimes if he knows I'm watching him. There he goes.
Nice.
He just likes to wiggle. And yeah, he's just an incredibly colored fish, but he unfortunately is developing a tumor, as you can kind of see. This is really difficult because my camera's reverse angled.
Yep.
Right. Oops, did we just lose him?
I think he just hit a button. Yeah.
I think he's actually one of us now.
He will be back, I'm sure, in a minute. But yeah, very interesting. The things that he
nice
keeps.
score so far. Wow.
Right, you've seen this fish room firsthand.
I have. I gotta tell you guys, the camera does not do it justice. Those bettas are absolutely huge. Huge and gorgeous. There we go. He's back.
Yep.
There you are.
You hit a button,
I
didn't you?
don't know why that dropped out. Yeah.
It's okay.
You're
Why
good.
hit the button, guys?
It is
It's all good. First time
not
using
something
StreamYard.
we
I
haven't
understand.
done.
Right, I've done many times.
I'm all thoughts today. Yeah, there he is.
Oh.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
And he's a very interesting character. And so this is my little baby, and her name is Baby.
Oh.
This is also another female.
Yep.
Here we go. Some light. And she's just got such striking fins. I mean,
Mm-hmm. And are these all 5-gallon setups, Tyler?
yes.
Yes.
Yes. We like our 5 gallons in this house.
That's cool.
So this is my guppy breeder. This is a 30 gallon. Man, this is wants to be crazy. As you can see, I got a bunch of fancies in here, and then I have this one. There he goes. I have one platinum in here, and he's got some very cool light play on the scales where it makes him kind of holographic. He's a very cool guy. I like all these fancy guppies.
Yeah, they're neat colors, right? And
Oh yeah, very striking, very interesting to look at in the tank. I mean, once their tails grow out and they get longer, these are just now getting their colors, and they're already just getting out of control.
have you found any interesting genetic colors or fins that continue to show up when you're finding the babies with this mix, or anything surprised?
So, yeah, what I am finding is that this platinum guppy has fathered a lot. He's fired a lot of fry, and so I don't know. I think maybe that the females either he had just had the perfect opportunity to get to all the females before the other more fancy guppies got to them, or they just preferred the platinum over the other more spangled males that I had in here. Because I did at first have a disproportionate amount of these. You can see these are his kids right here. I don't know if you can see that very well.
Yeah.
There's one. And then, but I do try. I don't try to breed for strain specific right now because I do want to sort of start with a more healthy genetic pool than more of the inbred varieties that you can get, mass produced through fish stores, et cetera, et cetera. I do find that, like, when I first started with guppies, they were just incredibly weak, and I think it was also a matter of like the local supply that we had. They were not strong fish. Usually with guppies and mollies, they're pretty hardy. I mean, it's hard to not get started with a guppy tank, But I was having a lot of difficulties with these fish, just keeling over, and it'll rack your brain over more. You go and buy your equipment, and you buy all your test equipment, and you're testing your waters and your parameters and all this, just to find that it had nothing to do with you at all, So that was a frustrating experience for me when I first started out, and but now that I'm more versed, I think we were talking about it backstage, but I've had these tanks running for about 9 months with no real hiccups or anything, no huge spikes, nothing crazy going on.
Yeah. So how many aquariums do you have set up?
So 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9. Right now,
when you got
right now it's 10. So I have 10 tanks running right now. Yeah, I have one air pump because the larger tanks I have air filters,
like sponge filters and that kind of thing.
Yeah, sponge filters. Yeah, and so that moves enough of the water around for me to feel like it is pretty stable. They do a good job. I do recommend sponge filters myself. If you're gonna do more low tech setups, like, I think that's a really good option. Is to go with sponge filters. It does, not only is it aerating, but it is pulling in, sediment and doing a decent job of harboring some of these nitrifying bacteria that we need in our tanks and all that kind of good stuff. All the goods.
Yeah, for sure. I did just want to address a comment. So my friend Steven, he says here, most imported guppies are trash nowadays, according to Dan's Vet. And so Dan, for your knowledge, Tyler, is Dan's Fish. It's not only a YouTube channel, but it's also a business based out of Sheridan, Wyoming, that sells fish online. And he's got a completely different business model. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he and his company that he started out there in Wyoming, they try and do things in a way that are more sustainably sourced, and they place great emphasis on the care of the fish. That's why he's got a fish vet that he works with to check the fish that he brings in inventory and make sure they're treated, and the shipping methods. So he makes that comment about Dan's Fish, but also I wanted to bring it up because Steven's got a tank that he calls a Live Bearer Mosh Pit. And in there, he has guppies and platies, and so he does kind of a mutt guppy setup as well, where they're of mixed genetics. So you may want to check the channel out after the fact and just to see his setup.
I'll definitely check that out. That's very interesting. And I did have mollies in this tank at one time, and I did have some muppies
Ah,
at one point, and those have aged out at some point. But that was an interesting experience seeing these hybrids in there. That was definitely a first for me because I had a friend over and we started arguing about what exactly these were, and we couldn't come to a conclusion. So I started doing more, a little bit more research into what was going on with my tank, and it was because they have that potential.
to
And
crossbreed. Yeah.
I didn't really think about having these, and also the the mollies were just they were a nuisance in my planet tanks because it's hard to take them out if I had to, when these tanks were first establishing, and I had to quarantine fish and et cetera, and I was sometimes you pop up with some sickies, and the mollies were having a hard time, and I was trying to catch those, and it's a headache. I mean, anybody could say that about any fish, but they were in particular very, very stubborn.
Were they
So
good at
I have them
evading your
isolated.
net, Tyler?
Oh yeah! Oh my gosh! I was in there. I had two nets, one in each hand, trying to get these guys out. But I finally got them out, and so they're all in the frog tank down here. Let me flip it around,
Yeah.
and I wish I had cleaned this off a little bit better. Sorry.
No, looks good. Looks good.
See down in there. So I also have, and this is the pride and joy of the setup, is my planted aquarium, and this is a mixed tank.
Oh wow.
They're
Fully
cool.
planted. I actually painted the backsplash to look more like woods.
Oh gosh, I
Nice.
see that.
Yeah, so you're kind of actually looking out into some, just a little grove on the side of a river. So that was a fun experience. Excuse my suction cup is failing on my little heater. This room actually stays about 70 degrees all the time. So I just put a little heater in there because we just, electricity bills get high.
Oh yeah.
But I actually do have an upgrade for that that's going in this weekend. And really, I don't have to touch this tank ever. It's a really good little ecosystem. You see, I have some neon tetras in there. I also have green neons. I don't know if you can actually see them zipping around through there, but hopefully, if you're lucky. But so in this corner over here, you see I have some nauseous grass for some of the fry that pop up, and it's inevitable with guppies. And I haven't actually gotten any of these tetras to drop any eggs or anything like that. It's too much of a mixed tank. Everybody's eating everything all the time. I also have, a little bit of a snail infestation going on. That's that litter going on down in here.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Do you
But
know what
this
size
is
heater that is you have, Tyler?
so this one I ordered. This one's for up to 30 gallons, I think. And this is a 30-gallon
Okay.
setup, but I wanted to go with something a little bit nicer because this is just, it's like a Chinese. I ordered it off of like Amazon.
Gotcha. Well, if you have any need for it, I have this if you want it. You're welcome to it.
Oh, awesome! Yeah, I might stop by and get that
It's
tomorrow if I'm snowed in.
it's a 2 to 10 gallon. It's a 50-watt heater, so
Awesome!
it's small.
Thank you.
But if
Yeah,
you
yeah,
need it, no problem.
yeah. I'll definitely stop by. Let's see what else do I have going on here. You see this amazing Amazon sword that popped up. There we go.
Yeah.
This thing. So all these plants that are in here had started out as just like little, like 4-inch, tissue cultures,
Oh,
and
no kidding.
have been growing. Yeah, I actually ended up planting a lot of these maybe 6 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Especially these Java ferns down here,
Mm-hmm.
right in this little area. Those started out like, I mean, this big, and they
what
blew up and got out of control.
what substrate are you using, Tyler?
All right, so at the bottom of my tank here, I have Diamond Black, and I actually I did the back with fluval stratum for
Mhm.
planted aquariums, and then I capped that with Diamond Black, and so all the plants that you see are like planted from the back and are growing sort of toward the face of the tank here.
Forward. Yeah.
Yeah, and it is a little bit shallower on the front ends than it is in the back end. It's more of like an incline,
Mm-hmm.
so that we can showcase more of the actual tank. And dude, these fish are so active and curious, and they're always like rolling these rocks around and doing all kinds of stuff. Especially the snails are the culprits, really, for this little, because this was looked like a little walking path at first, and then you get the snails climbing all over them, and then they start tumbling these rocks around.
They changed the path.
Yeah, exactly. And so so these little white stones and brown stones are all like river stone.
Mm-hmm.
You can buy it at like Home Depot, I guess.
Yeah.
But you want to rinse your rocks. I had to learn that the hard way with one of my other aquariums. Like rinse your rocks, rinse your sand very well. There was one point where I had a aquarium that I had capped with like sand that I bought from the store, and it actually had like dragonfly larvae infest one of my tanks. So there was one day I was like cleaning out the Nogius grass, and I was pulling out Nogius grass, and there were actually like nymphs in there, because I was wondering what was happening to all my fry, right? And I'm like, what's going on in here? And of course, with planted tanks like this, it's hard to tell what is going on all the time.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many little nooks and crannies for everything to hide and get into. But I don't like to overdo it with any of like the maintenance, because a lot of any of the extra nutrients is getting just sopped up completely by these plants that are just, you can see how out of control they're getting. I don't really even have to use any much. I think I do maybe once a month, if I remember, of liquid fertilizer for the
Mm-hmm.
plants, just to restore the minerals in the water and stuff like that. But this tank has probably been the most stable and most successful of all of them so far. It is the oldest too, so it's been established and running for a good long while. I do have a media filter, like a hangover back filter.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't running that filter at all for a long time, because I had a bunch of sponge filters that I was using to seed for the other setups.
Right.
And that's another thing that I like to do with tanks like this, because it's been, I know it's cycled, I know it's successful, I know that there's enough bacteria to handle the nitrification and all that kind of stuff, the nitrogen cycle, handle any ammonias and things like that. And I do have to do top offs for my tanks, because we do run the heat, and it, for whatever reason, during the winter it evaporates a lot more. Sorry, I gotta get up off the floor here.
Yeah, I find the same thing, Tyler. I find that my tanks tend to evaporate more in the winter. I'm running the heat in the house, and so I think it's quite dry, and it seems like the water just continues to end up on a daily basis. It almost seems like it shrinks the depth.
All right, so I think I just flipped my camera back around. Can you guys see my front view?
you.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, cool. All right.
Welcome back. So, what's your favorite fish?
My favorite fish, Favorite fish that I've owned personally so far has been Baby, the purple fin
Mm-hmm.
beta up there. She's every time I come home, she's always up at the tank, always, just curious, has a really interested personality in what's going on around her, and very personable. I've gotten her to like jump through my fingers if I hold up a little loop. She's done that
Right.
before. I've gotten her to sit in my hammock in my hand before a few times. So she's not shy. She's not a shy fish. Very interesting that because we disregard fish. We're just always like fish. Whatever fish. We don't think about what fish we're thinking about either.
Mhm.
So, like, what's the day in the life, And if I had to pick a guide for that, it would probably be Baby, the beta.
Nice. What's your
But
favorite
as far as,
plant,
like,
Tyler?
well, I was gonna answer maybe a part B to the first question there
Go
before I
ahead.
get to plants, because I could go on about plants too.
Yep.
But I think my favorite fish or marine animal overall would be the cuttlefish.
Huh.
The
Nice.
cuttlefish are such interesting creatures. They live such a short amount of time that it's. I think that we have an opportunity to study an animal that rapidly learns about its environment and adapts within like a 3-year period or so. Out in the wild, they really don't live that long, but they're so present in what they're doing at any moment. It's really interesting to watch them in the wild, and it's really interesting. Their biology is very, very, very cool. Just incredible psychedelic displays that they're capable of to warn us like, hey, we're here, but we're like looking at this alien creature, and it's communicating to us, and that's really cool to think about how intelligent animals can be. And so that's, and also, cephalopods happen to be like more of a focus to my art. So I have a lot of like octopus paintings, a lot of cuttlefish paintings, and I like really striking, as far as like subject matter for my art. I like very striking and very vivid creatures that some of it's like tropey mainstays, like lionfish or whatever, reef picture, all
Right.
kinds of different stuff. But I love doing that kind of stuff, and it really, if I'm gonna have some art in my house, I want it to like kind of inspire me to think about other worlds that are around us that we can't access, things like that. And but so to get back to your question, TJ, my I think my one of my favorite plants so far that I've owned has been these string of turtles. Let's see if I can give you a better view. These string of turtles are so interesting to look at, and it looks like
Yes.
little turtlebacks, just like a little army of turtles.
Yeah, it does.
Very cool.
It is really
Very
cool.
cool stuff. And it does. It grows out in like a vine, and it looks really nice in my house. And
Mm-hmm.
I can actually propagate it very easily by taking some of these little turtlebacks and just sticking them in dirt, and they will grow. They'll sprout from there. They'll propagate from there. It's really cool.
That's all it takes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
But I think a close second would be pothos. I have a bunch of different varieties of pothos going in this little grow room here.
So what's your
I have
favorite?
Mandula. Huh?
So
I'm sorry.
what's your favorite photos?
I think that my favorite is probably golden pothos, because not only is it a really good beginner plant,
Mm-hmm.
um, if you're gonna gift somebody a plant, that you don't have to, you can sleep well at night knowing that they're gonna have a hard time killing it.
Right, right.
Get them a pothos because they can stick it in the window. As long as they water it, it's gonna take off.
Mhm.
And if you're trying to get other people into a hobby that involves cultivating life, in that way, I think that it's really good to set people up with the softballs first, so that they can cultivate some feeling of success in what they're doing. Because if a lot of people lose interest if their plants are dying, or their fish are dying, and they don't, and they don't know what to do, so they're just like, oh well, I'll just go, go back to playing my video games and doing other stuff, and
Right.
nothing wrong with that. But for me, I do very much enjoy sharing my hobbies with other people and trying to get them inspired to do, things that would interest them and expand their minds. And so naturally you gravitate toward, what's going on in the garden section today,
Mm.
and what's going on in the fish store today, because there's so many cool things to look at. And I mentioned earlier that I have a daughter. She's 10 years old, and so we are always cooking up things to do together, like just on like a Saturday. We're already out at lunch doing our chores. Like, what's something that we can do real quick that's kind of fun. So we came up with, we'll stop by all the pet stores on the way home. We'll stop by all the large chains, and then we'll stop by. We have a local super fish store that we like to stop by all the time. They have a huge koi pond. She'll stick her hands in there with the koi, and they'll suck on her fingers, and and she'll have fun.
Yeah.
Y'all
And
do
we'll see
any
some
more?
really cool saltwater fish that we don't get to see every day. It's like the free zoo. You know what I mean? Like, why not?
Right.
But that gets her inspired, and so she came up to me a couple of weeks ago and was telling me that she wants to be a veterinarian when she grows up. Which I said, you better do good in school and keep
Right.
studying. Keep doing what you're doing, and don't give up. And so it's really fun seeing like these hobbies and things influence like her decisions and what she wants to do, and to be able to share like a passion for life and art and animals and stuff like that. It's fun. It's been a lot of fun.
So,
One of the
do
things
you
you
use CO2 in your tanks?
No, I do not inject. I don't do any CO2 injections. That is something that I have. Like, I have like a little projection board. You know what I mean? For
Mm-hmm.
ideas and things that I want to start playing with, and that is one of the things up there. I've been thinking about doing like a low tech yeast setup. Have you guys? Do you guys know anybody who's done CO2 with yeast? Bottle yeast
I feel
or
like
anything
I've
like that?
definitely heard of some people in the community, Tyler, that have done it and tried it. I think it's been, some people I'm sure have had great success with it. It's kind of like anything. I think other people have switched to the more traditional kind of bottle of CO2 type of thing. So
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And another thing that I've been really kind of trying to set up to do in the future here is brine shrimp. Have you guys had any success with doing brine cultivation or anything like that? What kind of tips would you have for somebody who's sort of looking to get into that, and maybe is on more of a budget side?
yeah, there's definitely, I've seen some people who have done their own brine shrimp hatcheries out of like cut up 2-liter bottles.
Okay. Yeah.
You can probably go out, and search throughout YouTube and see if there's someone who's done a DIY setup. And I mean, you can certainly buy the pre-made ones, like Zis, I think, makes one that's quite
Right.
popular.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
But yeah, if you're more into the DIY, I think there's plenty of things that you can go out there and find to see. I myself don't hatch baby brine. I have done mostly like vinegar eels, micro worms, things like that. That I sort of jumped into, and then for brine shrimp, I tend to do frozen baby brine shrimp and regular frozen brine shrimp type of stuff. So
Okay, very cool,
Someone
very cool.
recommended to buy the Zis hatchery.
What hatchery?
Someone recommended to buy the Zis hatchery. They said they
yeah,
like it.
that's the one that's
Yeah, just
quite
buy it.
popular.
Okay. Yeah. I've seen those. I've seen that on online. But yeah, so another thing that maybe I wanted to throw out to the community is I don't know how you guys keep your tank stable as far as like what you're putting into it in the form of food for the fish. But I think that I've had some bad luck with buying, the superstores. They sell. I don't want to put name brands on blast or anything like that, but
Do it. Let's do it. Come on,
Oh,
do
we do
it.
that all the time.
but like
We do
freeze
this
dried
all the time.
bloodworms
We do
or any kind of bloodworms that come from some of the distributors. Well, yeah, I'm trying to be I'm trying to be kind, but I've had some bad luck with those before, and especially actually recently. Um, it seemed like it's actually the Molly tank got kicked out of whack after I fed it bloodworms after maybe like 2 or 3 months of not feeding them any bloodworms or giving them any kind of treats or anything like that. I do feed them like full size, like the brine shrimp cubes, stuff like that. Every now and then, I'll just sprinkle them in all the, and that helps the fry too because they get that little bit of boost of a protein and get to growing up, bulking up a little bit faster. So that's why I was asking about the brine shrimp setups because as somebody with a breeder tank like this, and it's always kicking out fry. And I don't want to sound cruel, but I do try to keep some things that will kind of snip up the extras,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
because if I leave these guppies to their own devices, it'll be more fish than water.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, but anyway, back to the bloodworm thing. So I kind of followed a rabbit hole with that, and what I like kind of landed on was that a lot of the places that I guess breed bloodworms and midges and things like that, and it's all just like open ponds and things.
Mm-hmm.
And also, like midges from outside can fly in and lay their eggs in these hatcheries and things like that. And you don't know what these midges are feeding on. They could be feeding on anything because they drink blood. It's a bloodworm, right?
Right.
So, like, they could be drinking blood from anything. They could be eating stuff from anywhere, and that's what you're putting in your tanks. Right, and so I've stopped putting these freeze dried or even frozen. I haven't touched any of the frozen bloodworms in a while, and it seems like I haven't had any problems after that because I did lose a few fish, and it was just I was like, what is going on? I don't know what is. I don't know why they kicked the bucket because they were still pretty young. A lot of these fish are still under a year old. They're not even close to being old yet. So
So that was what you.
I was following rabbit holes. Chasing my tail.
So that's what you experienced.
So
was
our buddy,
basically-
our other local buddy, Alex here says he'll hook you up with a live blackworm culture.
I would love to talk to you about that. Yeah, definitely. I'll try and get with you at some point after this live stream. But yeah, so I did follow that rabbit hole down a little bit farther, and and so I appreciate Fathom Aquatics for saying they'd hook me up with some live cultures. I think that'd be a fun addition to see some wigglers in the tanks. Speaking of wigglers, I also do have coolie loaches. Everybody loves coolie loaches. Yeah.
Mhm.
You'll never see them.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're never gonna see him.
I'll see him maybe once a week, and then I'm like, all right, I'm glad to know you're alive, man. Really, it's like paying for a pet that you'll never see. It's fun.
Right.
But I had 3 different kinds in this little tank behind me. Let's see if you can. I have this teeny weeny. I think this is a 10-gallon actually. 10-gallon long, rimless. It's a fun tank. I have all these pothos sticking out of it, and I also have a Swiss cheese monstera going on.
Mm-hmm.
So I got that tank because I started messing around with Taiwan bee shrimp.
Uh-huh.
That was a very interesting experience. Learned a lot. Learned how to lose a lot of money very quickly.
Yeah.
The couple of shrimp that you do have in that, the couple of shrimp that he does have in that tank, you guys, are huge and very much
they're,
active.
So I actually think those ended up being like not the red crystal shrimp, but they were. I think they were just cherry shrimp, and so they actually got pretty long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And,
they're pretty big.
But I did have some white and red cherry, red crystal shrimp, excuse me, for a while, and it's one of those things where you really have to have a very tight grip on your parameters for your tanks, because any fluctuation, and they're just toast. They won't molt right. They'll get stuck and they'll die, and it can happen really quickly. And so I had I think I was just having an off day one day, and I was doing tank maintenance and went to refill their tank. I was doing a top off, and with the guppy tank, I don't really set the water out to like age to off gas or anything like that, because it's a big setup, and I don't really have to top off that much. But I had topped that off before I set up my drip acclimator, because I acclimated from this season tank to the other smaller tank right next to it, and that's so I had done that one day, like right after I had done a water change on the big tank, and that killed off like 90% of my shrimp. And I didn't even. It happened so fast, man. I went to bed, woke up, and I didn't have shrimp anymore.
Yeah.
It's that easy. It's that easy with shrimp, and but if you want a really cool nano setup, shrimp are the way to go. They're so cool to watch. They're always doing something. They're always busy, always doing something, always cleaning off your tank. And as long as you're got a tight grip on those parameters, I think I wouldn't recommend it for beginners, but definitely if you're interested in it and have a couple of extra dollars laying around, it's a fun experience, and I had a great time. And I was toying with the idea of the new blank tank being maybe a shrimp setup at some point. Once it's cycled, we'll figure out what we're going to put in it, I think. And I do want to do a fully planted aquarium. I'm stuck on that. I love plants so much. I think it's really cool and really just an extra layer of just that feedback and that reward of having a really cool setup to be like, yeah, I planted this, I designed it. Everything was like my brainchild come to fruition. It's really cool
Yep.
to see, all of these. Because I also do landscape paintings. I mean, any artist who's like beginning, you start with landscape art, drawing your house in the sun and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But after a while of doing landscape art and doing like cityscapes and stuff like that, I was like, man, I'm really starting to get bored of this because I want to see this in like 3D. I want to do more landscaping and
Let's
do this.
Let's see.
Okay, you guys want to see some art? I see the chat.
Yeah, we've had a couple of requests on that, Tyler. So we better give the people what they want.
All right, enough talk. Let me find a painting here. So,
without further ado, y'all.
Yeah, so here's one of my lionfish.
Whoa!
And what is that? What's the media you're using there?
So this is a canvas panel, and I use acrylic paint because I've always lived in smaller apartments or spaces. So having like a bunch of having a bunch of racks for drying paintings is not really like conducive. So I like to use acrylic so that I can do a bunch of paintings really quickly and don't have to worry about them where I'm setting those up to dry. Here's a little squid.
Ooh.
This was a little baby hatchling that I found I think I just did this one off the internet just from reference.
Alex said, "Okay, I'm going to need to buy some art."
yeah, definitely. I'll get you some things. Yeah, I'll trade. Maybe we'll trade some. Bloodworms or something for like a painting. Yeah. So here's one of my octopus paintings.
I like it.
Ooh.
Yeah. So this one, I do have a print shop that I use. If anybody's interested in these, just reach out. You can reach out to my Instagram, and I can get you a print made up and sent out to you. Probably take maybe a week if you want to order it to get to the print made, and then have it sent out by mail.
So, do you have like an online store?
I do very small commissions because I have a day job and stuff like that. So, I just do, if somebody's interested, I'll make you a print, but I don't really keep too much stock on hand. Here's a pajama shark.
Right.
A pajama shark. Wow.
And so I do like to use mixed media. Actually, here, I don't know if you guys do a lot of like craft store, buying paint from craft stores or anything like that. But all these little bottles of paint that you see that look like this.
Yep.
That's made down here in Georgia, in Norcross, Georgia. So that's maybe 30 minutes from my house.
Yep.
And so I use a lot of their paints because I like secretly I want to kind of get a sponsorship, get some free paint.
Definitely.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So I try to plug them a little bit. It's a Folk Art brand, plaid. Here's a reef. This one's a little larger.
Oh my gosh, that's really nice.
Yeah, and if you want some more close-up better quality visuals on these, you can visit my Instagram at Tyler Moon Fox.
Is that a hippo tang in the corner, and then there's a crab on the sand?
Yeah. You see the crab?
I see the
I
crab,
like
and then there looks like a
Yes.
hippo tang to your right. Is that what it is?
This one right
Yeah.
here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Great.
That's dope.
Hey, good eye.
You got looks like
Yeah.
a shrimp maybe down in the bottom of that same corner, or something else down there.
Maybe a
Clownfish? What is it?
clownfish.
Yeah, right
I'm
there.
not sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe a clownfish moving around.
something like
It's
that.
whatever
Yeah.
whatever your imagination wants it to be. You know,
Nice. Nice.
So,
that's the fun thing about art.
I was wondering if any of your originals are for sale.
I'm sorry.
Are any of your original paintings for sale?
So the originals obviously are like astronomically more than a print would be,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
but yes, they are for sale. I don't post prices because with fine art, it's more of like you have a venue that you're trying to attract people to,
Right.
you know. And a lot of times with galleries, it's like share, you share space with other artists, and everybody's kind of collectively trying to promote, like not only themselves, of course, like 90% themselves, but also bring in a whole scene so that they can advertise with their friends and stuff like that, and generate interest in the venue that they're trying to, that they're trying to keep propped up, essentially. But I'm more of like an outsider. I don't really have time for that kind of lifestyle because that wasn't my career path per se.
So Tyler, I'll
But,
mention to you that every year during kind of the warm shipping season, we do within the community monthly auctions. We call it the Aquarist auctions, and people sell fish, plants, and art. And
Oh,
so,
cool.
yeah, it's run by another friend here. He's actually quite local to me. He lives in Pennsylvania, a few hours away. Skipper, who runs a channel called Skipper's Aquariums, and sometimes I co-host those auctions with him. If you're ever interested, you'll have to let me know. And unless we change, unless Skipper kind of changes what he's going to do with that in the coming year, there may be an opportunity if you wanted to sell some of your art through an auction. So just something I'll throw out there to you as a possibility with this community.
Oh, absolutely. That sounds like an excellent opportunity to meet some awesome new people and share that passion and share some art.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, that's that color. Oh my gosh.
It's hard. The optics are like reverse for the camera user, so it's hard to get because it's reversed. So there you go. There's one. That's on actual canvas, and I have a couple more. Let's see. I have some smaller ones. I also do study paintings of all my work. So if you want like a little chibi version of any of these paintings, I can also get that sent out if you're interested. Here's one of my favorites. I'm going to set this on the chair and see if I can't flip it around.
Here's a question for you.
Yeah. Here's one of my cuttlefish.
Alex says the real question is, do you like Birchers?
Bichers.
You say Birchers. I'll say Birchers.
That's true. I've also heard someone who calls them bikers. So I think there's all sorts of.
Oh yeah, Vickers. Yeah, Vickers. Isn't that a strange way to? spell something. You know what I mean? Yeah, dude. I think those are some of the coolest fish, man. I'll definitely throw that on the list of things to paint
Oh,
in this
you
coming season.
you are making Alex Fathom Aquatics night. He if you look at his logo.
Oh yeah, I did. I saw that. It was yeah. That's really cool, man.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll definitely add
Alex
that.
says I know
I'll
how to
definitely
say
add
it. He just wants me to fight him.
that. How do you
Yeah.
say it, Mariah? How do you say it, Mariah? So here's a little sneak peek at one of the paintings that I'm working on now. This is just the study.
Oh, an orca.
Ooh.
So with my art, I really try to focus on not just like the animal itself or just the scene itself. Really, I think that it's really cool to incorporate the most fluid motions and like very dynamic scenery and like here's another one. Now you got me hunting down all my paintings. That
This is
painting
cool.
of the
I was gonna say,
cuttlefish.
don't you worry about us. We're having a good time here, Tyler.
Yeah.
Oh, good, yeah.
We
So the
love
painting of the
showing her.
cuttlefish that I did, I showed Mariah this, but that actually does have a lot of cool visual effects. Not only did I finish it out in like some glitter paint, so it actually catches a lot of light.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, you
But
got to do the flashlight thing.
yeah, so I'll show you in a second here. Let's see if I can find that. Where did I put that?
Y'all, this is so cool.
So I use a lot of different effect paints. One of the like that pajama shark that you saw actually used like this metallic sheen paint. So there's a lot of effects that you can't really get from buying a print that you would get from buying the original,
Yep.
right? So that's like also one of the incentives of like actually coming to see the art in person and putting your naked eye on it. Dang, where did
Naked.
I go?
You made
Sorry.
it an hour and almost 12 minutes, Mariah.
I know. I wonder how that happened.
Yeah. Sorry. I found my flashlight here. So it was below freezing out this morning, and the first thing I did was
A little.
swap out a commercial rooftop unit. So like all of my flashlights and stuff are all in my. I have a
I'm
jumper.
sorry. You were on a roof this morning?
Yeah, I was up on the roof of the West Cobb Avenue.
Bless your heart.
Okay, I got my flashlight.
Exactly.
So I'm gonna bring in the bathroom here. It's gonna get dark for a second. This is one of the coolest things that I've done with paintings so far. Definitely come check out. Once I have the pop-up gallery, I'll put more information on my Instagram. I do a lot of like traipsing around like our local town squares and things like that. In the town where I used to live up in Jasper, Georgia, I was actually in their local newspaper because I used to go out and paint at the Dunkin' Donuts where everybody, there's only one Dunkin' Donuts in that county. Let me see if I can flip this around. If you can pick it up. All right, stand by.
Oh, man.
Oh, I wish this would work. You're making me look
The
bad.
camera doesn't pick it up.
It's too dim. You can kind of, maybe a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Some of it's glowing.
Yep.
It's better in the naked eye. You pick up a
All
lot
right,
of
so
things,
in
but
person,
that's this painting. So it
in
actually does glow
person,
in the dark.
yeah, in person it glows in the dark. Like each of the parts that are illuminated, that are like kind of green, where the cuttlefish would naturally be bioluminescent.
Yep.
It shows that in the painting, and it's so vivid, you guys. It's very nice.
Here's another
Oh, that one is really cool.
little ghost crab.
Yeah.
So I was really trying to get the effect of like being like a very tiny critter, sitting on the top of sand, right?
Mm-hmm.
So each of these little brush strokes is like a grain of sand. And this is just like the babiest of baby crabs.
Yeah, that looks
And
real
this
nice.
one turned out really fun. And it's got some glitter on there, and it's really fun to look at. That's one of my favorite paintings in my room that I like to look at every day.
Yep, I can see why.
So there's there's some of my works. Oh yeah, I gotta show you a cuttlefish, man. Yeah, what am I doing?
I don't know. You're showing us everything.
What am I
Dee
doing?
says you are a very talented artist.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's one of my cuttlefish.
Mm-hmm.
This is based out of I think Australia. One of those diving institutes that like to go out and take videos of these gigantic cuttlefish, and they're just amazing creatures swimming through all this like kelp and stuff. Really fun stuff. Really fun. So
That's neat.
so that's a little taste of some of the stuff that I do other than landscapes. I do a lot of local cityscapes of like of our fine city of Atlanta. It's definitely an interesting place to live, especially as an artist.
Yeah.
There's a huge art scene here. You find nice people everywhere you go, and if you're interested in Coca-Cola or like any of these, or the Braves, I guess.
Yeah.
There's anything that you could ever want to do, you can find it here in Atlanta, except for go to the beach.
Waffle House started in Atlanta, y'all. Chick-fil-A started in Atlanta.
Yep, that's Hate Bill down
started
by the
in
airport.
Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
Mariah was born in Atlanta.
I was born in Atlanta.
Mhm.
What?
What hospital were you born at? Were you born in Northside?
I wasn't born in a hospital. I was born in my house in Decatur on Memorial Drive. Bam.
I tell you what.
And she was in handcuffs at the age of 4.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say,
No,
you're on probation.
no. I was like 11, maybe.
Were you 11?
12.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh,
Which
man.
makes it probably
better.
worse because I was older, so I should have known better.
So we're actually kind of rare people because not a lot of people are actually born in Atlanta. A lot of like our parents' generation moved here from other places. So there's
And it's funny too because being from here and meeting other people that you meet here, a lot of the people that you meet are not from here. And then when you finally meet someone that's also from here, you're like, oh my God, hey, look at that. Now you're also from here. That's great. The majority of the people you meet are from everywhere else in the world.
It's and that makes Atlanta such an interesting place too, because we have a very diverse palette. If you're a foodie, we have any kind of ethnicity or culture. You can find it here just as easily as you'd find it in places like New York or LA. And especially now at this point, and you can find really good Vietnamese restaurants. You can find really good African restaurants. Over in my neighborhood of Mableton, we have a huge African population. And they've opened restaurants down there. That's really cool. And the businesses down there, it's really interesting to drive through these places and be like, oh, this is this is this side of the neighborhood, and this is that side of the neighborhood, and there's always something interesting going on. Tons of food trucks, tons of activities. There's like festivals all going on all the time at all of our different. Over here in our county, we have like Marietta Square is our county seat, I guess. And there's always something going on. Every Saturday we have the art and the farmers market and all kinds of different stuff. You find all kinds of really interesting people. I haven't met anybody that that I've wanted to cross the street. If they were on the same side. Everyone's really nice, and y'all come on down.
Y'all.
Yeah, come on
Sounds
down.
really cool. Sounds really cool. Do
So
you?
TJ's up north and
Yeah.
Vibes is out in Texas.
Texas
I'm
is
in
awesome. So, what part of Texas?
Austin area.
Austin area. So I have a family that lives out in Houston, and we're all from Lake Charles, Louisiana. On my mom's side of the family, so they, once that last hurricane hit that area, they said, we're just gonna stay in Houston."
Mm.
And
Yeah.
so we're from all over the place, but I think our generation and our family was the first that was actually born and raised here in Atlanta, which is really a fun thing to say to anybody, because they will look at you and be like, "What? You're from here?"
Mm-hmm.
It is a very interesting implant city, and we're just booming. Real estate's booming, and there's so much development happening. So many and we're getting a population boom to the point where a lot of the areas that I grew up with, where it was just like out in the pines and there's nothing going on, maybe you get a Publix, and that's exciting.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's all rows of townhouses and stores, and it's a very interesting time to live in Georgia to
There's
see
too
a lot
many
of
people. They need to go back wherever they go back to their state because there's too many people. It's getting too expensive, and the traffic is out of control. Okay,
I will say
I
that,
love
yes,
y'all.
if you're visiting,
Listen,
don't
I'm gonna need
drive
some of y'all to go back home.
Alex said that you're full, so he said I should not visit.
Yes, we're full. We're
Yeah,
full. We're at
Yeah, we full.
capacity. We are above average. We're good.
Well, because you guys make it sound so darn appealing.
So,
Listen, geographically, if you look at Atlanta on a map, okay, the city of Atlanta sits in a bowl. So if the city was to flood, Atlanta would fill up first. The bowl is full. Okay, we at the rim.
remember, I guess that was like what last year, like maybe it was in October. No, it was like in October or something like that. The entire city flooded. It actually did flood, and we couldn't drive through the city. It was impossible. Some places were just you could not drive your car through. It was insane.
And it got that bad because of all the terrible drainage situation. The terrible drainage is because of all the road construction that they're having to do because of the influx of people with the traffic.
Sure.
Sorry, traffic is a hot point for me, guys.
We know the
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So,
y'all know me and my speeding.
Oh yes.
Yeah, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
Too much. Anyways, Tyler, since you're a marine biologist, do you have a saltwater tank yet?
No, I don't have room for a saltwater setup. Unfortunately, I'm trying to stick with like nano setups right now because that's a huge commitment. Not only for just for the foot space, and I have a small. I like to live small and be minimalist as possible because I do move around, from time to time, and I don't like to be weighed down too much. This is as way down as I've ever been with these with these tanks.
Yeah.
But,
Planning on sticking around a while, Tyler.
yeah, exactly. And
Good.
so
Hey, Tyler.
it would be cool in the future to do. What you got there?
That's a saltwater setup.
Is that a
That's a
puffer
saltwater tank.
setup?
That is
That's insane.
40 ounces in all. That's a tank and sump.
Wow.
Vibes, you gotta get a little closer so you can see the scale. You can't really see how small it is.
That's so cool.
There's a video on my channel about that setup.
I'll check it
out,
out. Yeah, I'll check it out after the stream. That's so cool.
Yeah.
That
I
thing
would
is
love to,
tiny,
venture into something
tiny,
like that.
tiny.
What do you have living in that nano setup?
There is 2 corals,
Fresh
some macroalgae,
saltwater
a
angel.
crab, and 1 fish.
There is
Cool.
a fish
What
in
kind
there?
of
Yes.
fish is that?
It's a goby.
Cool. Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Okay, man. All right, now you're getting me a little inspired here.
Yes.
Have you, Tyler? Have you come up with any ideas for what you want to do with your new tank?
Yeah, so Mariah was nice enough to gift me this 30-gallon and some hardware for it, and I have no idea what I'm gonna do with it yet. So we'll have to collaborate a little bit and see
I'm
how
down.
we want to scope it out and what we're gonna put in it. But I don't know. I'll have to sleep on it and hopefully some creative juices flow there. Because I do have it in the spot where like every day when I get up out of bed, I'm like looking at this blank tank, like, okay, all right, dude, you gotta do something with it. What are you gonna do with it? Yeah. So it's in the back of my head every day as I'm working. Like, what am I gonna do with that? But
Tyler.
I think that it would be really cool to do like a heavily planted, maybe pea puffers or something like that.
Yeah.
That'd be dope.
Venture into something a little bit more exotic than what I have going on now. And don't get me
I
wrong,
still got to
the
introduce you
guppies
to my
are awesome.
fish guy.
What'd you say, Mariah?
I still got to introduce you to my fish guy.
Oh yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. I'm interested in meeting him, and it seems like he's local too. I think that's pretty
Yep.
cool. But I was saying like that. Don't get me wrong. Like the guppies are a lot of fun, and it's really, artistically they're like really cool to look at and all that kind of stuff. They have a lot of like visual aesthetics that are enjoyable and but once you get used to them, you're like, fish people. It's like what's the coolest next thing? What's that itch I got to scratch on that? So I've dabbled into the frogs. I've done the coolie loaches. I've done the mollyfish. I've actually had some vampire crabs at one point, and those were really cool. Very fun experience. They don't live very long, so I do kind of want something that's gonna last, that we can enjoy, and maybe even self-proliferate and be low tech, low maintenance. Something that would be easy, because I've had more involved setups before. I've had these couple of like low tech, larger tanks, and I'm really enjoying that aspect of like, dude, you don't really, if you're doing it and you're keeping up with how your specific setup, all of its specific needs, and like, making sure that it's an actually somewhat balanced environment, because it is a full environment. There's all the way down to bacteria. You're thinking about how do I feed these bacteria even, once you start falling down these rabbit holes of trying to maintain these like little pockets of like a slice of nature. like how do you preserve that, right? And so I've had a lot more luck with just these little low tech. Don't touch them too much. Obviously keep your eye on it. And I see my tanks every single day. I mean, it's in a spot. This is my bedroom, and so like I'm with these fish. These fish watch me as just as much as I watch them.
Right.
So they're very
So
much
really
part
quick,
of
I have
my
two
everyday.
questions.
All
So
right.
first question is from Skull Aquatics. Is there a YouTube channel coming soon?
On my part, it would be very hard to work into my schedule because I have work and obviously I'm a parent too. So that's it's something I'm gonna have to think about, and I'll have to give you an answer on that maybe a little bit later
Mm-hmm.
in the following months. And that would be a little bit more of a time commitment and a space commitment. And I try to, like I said, live as minimally as possible so that I can give most of my time to what I love to do, which is just like turning over these plants and tending my little garden here, and using that as creative influence into driving my paintings and getting more people interested in aquatics and even the aquascaping aspect of it has been really cool. And I see a lot of cool like YouTubers doing their aquascaping channels, and it's always getting me inspired. So I think that if I did a YouTube channel, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Nice.
And so yeah,
And then my second question was Vibes or TJ, do we know if Ed is going live tonight?
He
No,
is
he's
not.
not.
He still has a sinus
Okay.
infection, unfortunately.
Yeah.
sorry,
Gotcha. I
Christian.
just wanted to make sure we weren't running over.
Yeah, hopefully I'll get to meet him next time. But yeah, I hope he gets better pretty soon. I battle that a lot with my job because I do heating and air, so I'm
Mhm.
crawling in disgusting places all the time. So I feel your pain, bro. I feel your pain.
Yeah, hopefully he'll be feeling better. He canceled last weekend this week. You gonna cover Alex's question too, Mariah?
Oh, I
See
did
that
not
one?
see that one.
Just he's asking if you would want a fish room tour video because he says he knows a guy.
Oh, very interesting. That's an interesting idea. Let me get back to you on that after I clean my room.
Well, hey, but we want it how is it now? This is authentic. This is the real deal.
Yeah, give me raw and uncut. Yeah.
Listen, we want it straight, no makeup,
Exactly.
all natural.
Well, I think the thing is, Tyler, I think the guy that Alex knows is Alex himself, and his editing and video skills are rather good.
Yeah, they are very good.
So I would not worry too much about the state of your fish rooms. I think it looks probably like a lot of our fish rooms at different points in life, and you've got some interesting stuff to share. So if it's something that you're interested in and he can do it, I'd consider it,
Yeah,
right? You don't have to
yeah.
do what you're comfortable with, but if you wanted to kind of break in to YouTube in a way that maybe didn't take your time right now,
Right.
see what happens, see what the reception is. I think there's people in here saying that all the things that you just described would make great content actually. So
Right.
almost
Okay.
like what a lot of people do is they'll just set up a camera and kind of go at whatever projects and stuff. Vibes does that quite a bit. He'll do maintenance
Oh,
or
come
whatever.
on, Alex. A little bit of ruse won't hurt you.
But I hear what you're saying, TJ, and I do see it as like an opportunity to collaborate, and
Yeah.
definitely be interested.
Just give it some
in
thought,
something like
right?
that.
And this is kind of your introduction to the community. We're happy to have you here, right? In whatever
Yeah,
capacity,
everybody.
right? Whatever capacity makes sense for you. Like I talked backstage and I told you, I don't I don't make content related to the fish keeping. I do guest host
Right.
appearances from time to time on some different channels, and I participate a lot in chats like a lot of the folks are tonight. And I really I enjoy that. That all gives me a lot of energy. And I've just never gotten the bug to kind of do my own videos other than the race videos that I post. So find whatever makes you happy with it, but I think take advantage of the opportunities that are there that seem interesting is my advice to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, that's good advice. I think if you're at all interested in pursuing anything, I think that's really good advice. Yeah, so definitely, like I said, I do have an Instagram if you want to reach out and talk about art, talk about fish, talk about life. I'm always, I always have my phone in my hand, so because that's just our generation, I think now.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's easy to get a hold of me. Usually, if I don't get back to you, just understand I'm at work. But
It's probably
I
on
am
mute
pretty good
freezing his
about getting
phone.
back to people if you guys are ever wanting to get a hold of me. At Tyler Moonfox on Instagram, and you can find me at Tyler Moonfox on Facebook as well if you're interested in finding me there.
Oh, okay.
It's a lot of nonsense on my Facebook, so whatever. But the Instagram is more art and fish inspired. So if you want to really be specific about how you want to interact, you know how to find me.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Yeah. So, well, guys, I actually have an early day tomorrow, so I might have to hop off. But it was really, really good to meet you guys and get acquainted. And if you guys want me back at any time, definitely I'll come back. I'll talk for you for hours.
This was really fun. I'm so glad that Mariah bumped into you, however it happened there in your neighborhood. And
Yeah, she stole my packages off my porch, so I go knock on her door.
Where's another story? This will be good.
She is a sly one, our Mariah.
Man. Before we head out of here, y'all, TJ, what you got for us?
Yeah, I want to thank Tyler first of all for coming up and joining. This was really interesting, man. It was great to get a chance to meet you, see what you're doing here, see your art. Thanks to Mariah for stealing his packages apparently and finding him. We won't talk about that here on out. Get her in any kind of trouble, but thanks for doing that because I think this was really fun. Thanks to everybody in chat. Thanks to Mariah and Vibes, my co-host. Vibes, our fearless leader. It was another fun week.
And how about you, Mariah? What you got for us?
Well, thanks everybody for coming out. Tyler, appreciate you coming on, man. It was very enjoyable getting to sit chat with you and get to know a little bit more about your hobby. And TJ and Vibes, as always, as usual. And as always, you guys, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Treat other people how you want to be treated. And may God treat you how you treat animals and elders.
Yeah. And
have a great night, guys.
I'll see y'all backstage.
Bye, Tyler.
All right, sounds good.
Later. Peace out, y'all. Bye.